Morning all. Sorry I'm a little bit late. Am I a bit late? Maybe not. Maybe you weren't expecting me at all. Anyways, it's Tanya here from the Prosper Hub, and I'm just going to be going on to the next step of the 6 steps to financial freedom. I'll recap what was discussed yesterday. Basically, I was talking about what is financial freedom and going through the different parts of our book, which is the 6 steps to financial freedom. And it's free, and you can download it if you go on to theprosperhub.blogspot.com. Look up in the top left hand corner and you'll find a little sign in there, and then it will get sent to you automatically. So today I'm going to talk to you about what is financial freedom. How do you work your own financial freedom point? So, you know, where's your level of financial freedom? So at the end of yesterday's talk, I was saying, if I was asking you to write down, without giving yourself a guilt trip, but to write down everything that you spend your money on. And it might be just as easy as looking on your bank statement. But equally, you might have to kind of rack your brain a little bit and think, you know, where do I spend my money? And the big ones, the big spends, are always going to be your big expenses are usually rent and your mortgage and all things like, you know, your utility bills and all that kind of stuff. But you might be surprised at what else you spend your money on. When I did this process a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, when I was actually in a bit dire straits, suddenly no income coming in because my business was hit by the credit crunch. I sat down and I couldn't believe in one day I saved myself £5,000, or I saw £5,000 worth of outgoings that were non-essentials, and they were things like I had a Sky TV package, for example. They were things like I was paying to a lot of charities. Now it broke my heart looking at those and thinking, actually, you know, they really add up. There were 3 or 4 of them, and I was paying £10 a month. And when that all adds up, that's kind of, you know, 3 or 4, almost £500 going out. And so you know, and I did have to put a stop to those. I've reinstated things and made different choices along the way since. But my financial freedom point was very obvious to me. What I had to earn in order to just keep afloat. So effectively, that's what a financial freedom sweet spot is. And the freedom bit. That's the financial bit. The freedom bit is achieving a passive income that covers those essentials. So if you look at you'll probably put everything down in one go, whether it's just a scrap of paper or whatever. I did it on a spreadsheet eventually. Create a spreadsheet, and then you can put everything down in one go, and then put things across. So you've got essentials and non-essentials. I sometimes call them shiny shoes, you know, that kind of stuff. So so I didn't actually at that point know about financial freedom. I just was, you know, in the headlights, looking at a situation where I couldn't afford the lifestyle I was having in 2008. And I had to make some quick drastic changes. There was some, I also, going through this, I suddenly realised I was paying into things that I'd forgotten I'd even set up, like an endowment that I'd set up about 9 years beforehand, and little things like that were just like, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that? And actually, I also realised I was paying into things like PPI. I also realised there were lots of things that I suddenly thought, oh God, I hadn't even really looked at. There had been not much cause to look at my bank statement. That sounds very financially fickle. But you know, the money was coming in, the money was going out. You know, I was never in any doubt about whether I was going to pay the bills or not. But suddenly I wasn't. So once you've got that financial freedom point, then you might sit back and go, gosh, actually that's not too much, or wow, that's a massive amount. So for example, if you've got kids at private school, or if you're paying a car loan down, or you know, if you've got a mortgage that is very, very large, or a rent that's very large, and your income is just, you know, just about covers just the basics. So financial freedom fighters, that you're basically at rung number 1 on your 6 steps to financial freedom. And once you've defined what that point is. So for me, because I don't have any incumbents, I don't have any kids, I do have dogs, so I do have to pay their insurance and things like that, and pay their food and things. But my level of financial freedom was comparatively low for other people my age and in my kind of social bracket, whatever. For me, it was when I did that exercise. As I say, I wasn't. Hadn't even heard about financial freedom. It didn't actually come into play until a few years later when I went to went to a conference and I saw a lady called Jill Fielding speak, and she talked about passive income, which was a bit of a new term for me, and she talked about financial freedom, which again was a new term for me. So when I actually sat down and started thinking about it, that's when I realised that actually that exercise I'd done a couple of years beforehand was relevant to where I wanted to be. Where I was going to aim to be. So I said yesterday that if you don't know where you're going, how do you know how to get there? So the financial freedom level that you ascertain by doing that little exercise of putting all your expenditures down, looking at what are the shiny shoes and which are the essentials, that is basically your goal, your first goal towards financial freedom. So the next thing in our book, which we've got here, the next thing in our book is that very thing about goals and how to set them. And really, there's lots of steps to setting a goal, but the most essential thing about a goal is that that it's realistic, it's ambitious. So the two things, it's got to be realistic but ambitious. And that you have that you put a date to it. So you might have a big goal. So this isn't talking about this is you might have a big picture goal, like financial freedom, but you can then break down that goal into mini goals. And I think that's really important because it can be so overwhelming having a big goal and just keep on, trying to. You see that and it actually just feels like a weight on your shoulder. And it actually prevents momentum. I kind of think of it a bit like, have you ever watched those strongmen competitions? The one where they're pulling a truck and it's got more and more logs on the back of the truck and they're pulling it and each log that gets pulled on, and sometimes they're even pulling it with something in their mouth. It's a bit like that. You've got this massive log truck behind you of this idea of financial freedom, and you're pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling at it, and actually. You forget that each of those each step that you take is actually a step towards attaining that big goal. So it's quite a good idea to kind of like break that down and maybe even kind of say, right, I want to have the food bills covered first of all. So that's my first financial freedom step. I want to have the food bills paid for. I want the gas bill paid for. I want passive income paying for the electric bill. Look at each little element that you've got in your that makes up your essential outgoings, and target each one. That can actually kind of make it feel much more manageable. And then you can have a mini celebration or a big celebration when you've actually attained that little goal. The other thing to do is to sit back and think, well, what am I going to do to create those bits of passive income? And so they can become goals within the major goal as well. So I'm just looking at the list that we've got here. So first of all, you have to make sure that it's realistic, but it has to be ambitious as well. So I think financial freedom, that level is ambitious because it can feel very overwhelming to most of us to think, oh my God, how the hell do I cover that? The next thing is to stick to that goal. Okay, so to stick to that focus, because if you start adding other goals in and start kind of trying to do other things, saying, for example, saying, I want to be financially free. No. I want to have a Ferrari and a massive house and a this and that and the other. You're basically making your financial freedom point bigger and bigger and bigger. Stick to the one that you can do first. and then break that down as well. So go to the first one, get that sorted, tick. Go to the next one, right, get that sorted, tick. And each time you get, you know, you're going to build up momentum, because otherwise you've got that weight falling down on you as well. So, and I would say also that you need to kind of look at that goal every day. We actually have a whole book about goal setting, and if you sign up for this book, and actually send us an email back, we will send you that straight away as well. And it's a lovely process. It's very visual. You can, you know, you write everything down, as well as as kind of create your own drawing and visualizing each of these elements of your goal. We'll go through that another time. I'm going to be focusing on the 6 steps to financial freedom at the moment, but in a few weeks' time I'm going to be going through the full goal setting structure. But yeah, so just going back to kind of just the generalized look at your goals. Once you've written those down, once you've thought about those, start imagining yourself, kind of walk it before, you know, walk the talk and talk the walk, and kind of, you know, fake it before you make it, all of those kind of cliches. But if you do that first, and start kind of thinking, yeah, I can do this, yeah, I can, you know, this I'm the financially free person. I am financially free. You know, but look at yourself in the mirror and imagine yourself being in that space, and actually think about that with your goals. Also write a list of all the things that it will mean to you specifically. Things will mean different things to me than they do to you. Think about the things that it will mean to you, and that will really help you keep on track. And the last thing I'm going to tell you in this little section about goal setting is that you should review it all the time. So one of the things that I did actually when I was setting my financial freedom point, one of the things that actually allowed me to move on was that I reviewed all my outgoings and looked to see if I could change any of them. So, for example, one of my outgoings was, by the time I'd met Jill, was that I had actually run up some credit card debts for various reasons. I'd never had them before, but because of the recession, and they were there, they helped me balance the books a little bit, and, you know, move the money around a little bit. And I really wanted to, so I looked at those, and I realised that my situation wasn't as dire as I thought it was, because my Experian, my credit rating was actually quite good, because I'd been running these sorry if you can hear something in the background, that's my dog whimpering because he wants to be in here with me. But if you can't, then that made no sense whatsoever. So one of the things that I looked at was my credit card, and to see whether I could get if I could move the balance over to somewhere else and get a 0 rate on the interest. So that reduce that outgoing. The other thing I did as well, which was blooming hard work and took a lot of shifting around and stuff, being self-employed and the credit situation being very different after the credit crunch, I remortgaged, and I got a lower mortgage rate, a lower interest rate. So that was a little chip away at the at my outgoing. So you can kind of play about with the levels. I got rid of some other unessential outgoings. I looked at my shopping bill. So it's a bit of both things. It's like earning more in passive income, which I will tell you more about, and ways to make money later on. That's one of the chapters in the book. You know, creating this new passive income and chipping away at the old expenditures that I had. And so actually I was kind of reducing the level whilst increasing the passive income, whilst still working for being paid for time as well. So I think that will be enough to talk to let you get on with for the moment. And I'm just having a look. Hi, Rihanna. Can you hear me now? She listened in when I couldn't actually be heard on an original, one of my first live videos like this. So hi, Rihanna. Anyway, I look forward to coming back tomorrow to telling you the next step. So what we're going to learn about tomorrow, we're going to be learning about how to make money, how to make passive income, and looking at also what's the difference between a job and the passive income way of earning. So goodbye for now, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll be in a different venue tomorrow. I'm actually going up to Peterborough, and you actually might get a sign of the lesser spotted Pam Mackenzie as well. So bye for now. Bye. Have a good day.